Hey everyone, thanks for checking in. Got something a little different on today's real-time edit. This one is a Pacific Loon I shot up in Alaska with my really good friend Jamin Taylor. Definitely check out his channel if you aren't already following it. He's got some great videos there. And this one, it was such a cool foggy morning. It really was one hell of an experience. This was my, I would say, first time really photographing them. The day before we had found a Pacific Loon in another spot and I got to shoot that one, but this was so much more of a really cool close encounter, and the light was just incredible. So I shot this with a 70 to 200 millimeter lens and shot it at 155 millimeter. And the deal with this, why I composed it this way, is I had a bunch of shots earlier where I had the bird in the bottom of the frame and you could see the tree line up top kind of fading into the fog. And so I wanted to just kind of mix it up and try something different. So I put them a little bit more high in the frame and went with just the tree line reflection only. And I thought that came out kind of cool, something a little different. So let's see, let's go for the edit here. I'm going to go a little bit lighter, kick the highlights up a little bit, bring the blacks back down. I want to get some contrast in this. And I'm going to do just a little dehaze, but not much. I do want to keep the foggy look in this, and I don't want to show too much detail. So for example, I think if I really cranked on that dehaze, yeah, I'd start seeing like the shoreline and this gets really detailed, and I don't want that. I want to keep everything light and airy. And in fact, this top half here is already starting to get a little too dark for my taste. So I'll lighten that up just a little bit. And then I think everything else can easily happen in Photoshop, but let me just do a quick crop. I want to really exaggerate this, placing the bird in the top of the frame, so I don't need that much space up top. So let's hop into Photoshop, and the first thing I'm going to have to do is a little bit of cleanup on the water here. There was just some, I think there was just some like lily pads and stuff like that kind of floating around down in there. So I'll just do all this cloning on a blank layer here and see if I can just kind of smooth some of that out without messing it up. It's really tough to keep things smooth when there's such soft gradients. And there's a nice dark spot right there that should go. Let's see if I can fade that out. There we go. Yeah, see now, it's still a little smudgy right in there. Just kind of clean that up. Something like that looks pretty good. Yeah, give it a little bit more smoothing. All right, that seems good. Okay, so now I do want to add contrast. I want the loon to stand out a lot more. So I'm actually going to try and make that kind of the darkest thing in here. So I'm really going to drop that black point and then bring the highlights up just a little bit. And I'm going to paint that in just on the bird here. So try not to get any of the background or anything like that. And I'll paint the reflection in a little bit softer. But there we go. I'm going to try and be real precise. So that way just the loon really stands out, especially because it's small in the frame. Naturally it's going to stand out quite well because even though it is really small in the frame, it's just flat calm water that's really kind of monotone. So there's not a lot of detail to distract. All right, and now I'll go to a softer edge brush and then just kind of paint in this reflection down here and make that just a little bit softer and darker down there. And there we go. Look at that. So watch how much more this bird jumps out. Look at that. Boom. There we go. So now we can see the bird a little bit better. And now I want to really make the top half just a more clean white. So I'm going to bring the white point up on that. I'm going to drop a gradient in on this. I'm going to get rid of it on most of the loon, at least the top half of the loon probably. Well, now I'm wondering. Maybe just get rid of it in these darker areas actually. Because everywhere that was lighter that adjustment kind of hit, I think worked really well actually. So that might be a little too dark in the reflection there. Just soften that up a little bit. There we go. Yeah, nice. All right, so now the top half got a little bit cleaner, a little bit more vivid, more pop up there. And then the last step is I want to enhance that blue color down there that's starting to show through in the foreground. And so I'm just going to, oops, I had a selection going there. There we go. Now I can see what I'm doing. Okay, so make that a little bit more blue and a little bit cyan. Somewhere in there should probably do the trick, and then I'll just go ahead and just softly paint that in. You know what? I might try a color range selection. Yeah, there we go. So I don't paint those trees. Oops. Let's see, something like that maybe. Yeah, there we go. That kind of works. So now I'll just paint in right along the tree line here now, and then I'll ditch that selection, so I just deselected, and then I can paint it in the rest of the way manually along the bottom here. And that's definitely going to be way too much color, so I'll back off of that once I'm finished kind of just painting this in exactly the way I want it. And I'm just going to do a simple lower the opacity on that layer. Maybe half of that effect is good. There we go. Nice. So there is my finished piece, I think. Yeah, before, after. Yeah, it definitely cleans up all those issues I had. I do see some banding right here, but I think it's just the zoom I'm at. Yeah, I went into 100% and that goes away. So cool. Let's get this saved. Go into Lightroom. We'll check the complete before and after. There should be a pretty significant difference in the look of this, just because there was, such a dull fog on this, which really kind of just overall dulls down an image, with color and contrast and everything like that. So there you go, right? Big difference in, there's the total before and after. Cropping it puts the bird a little bit more offset than I had it originally, which is good. And then instead of just this kind of funky gray, we got a nice popping white, or close to white up here, that fades into the reverse, the upside down tree line and then the blue sky. So yeah, something a little different. I'm really happy with how this turned out. This was my first time editing through one of these shots from that particular set. And yeah, thanks for following along. I hope you guys liked it. If you want to learn more about what I'm doing here and see it in a slower pace and step by step and ask any questions, hop on over to rayhennessy.com. Check out the workshop section. You can go to the mentorships to do ongoing workshops with me, and online workshops. You can go to the remote sessions to just do 1 or 2 remote sessions, and we'll go over the edits that I'm doing on these photos, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.